I built this dream physique after only a few years into my fitness journey. However, although I did this, along the way, there were still a lot of times when I struggled, especially with making progress and with staying consistent in the gym. There were still periods throughout this process where going to the gym kind of still felt like a chore. It wasn't as enjoyable as it could have been. And because of these mistakes, it led to it taking a lot longer than it could have for me to build this dream physique that I have now. So because of this, in this video, I'm going to go over some exact steps which you can take to get a lot more consistent in the gym so that you can build this same physique in half the time that it took me. So the first thing to go over is the actual mindset that you have and why you actually going to the gym in the first place. So for me, a lot of it was just because I didn't want to be average. I just didn't want to be like everyone else. If you go down the street, for example, and you're just walking down, just have a look at some of the people who you walk past. A lot of people today are obese. A lot of people are also chronically really thin and really skinny. And it just kind of looks unhealthy. And it's just not really where you want to be. So when there are times when I was kind of struggling to get consistent in the gym and to keep going, I would just remember and think why I actually started in the first place. And part of this is just having the mindset that you just don't want to be average. You don't want to just look like everyone else. You don't want to be that guy who you see when you're walking down the street who's just super skinny, or someone who's like super fat, just doesn't look good, doesn't look healthy, and doesn't look like they're in shape. So if you can really actually tone into this mindset and just remember why you started in the first place, your reasons for starting. Maybe it was because you were insecure because you were skinny, or the other way around, and you just wanted to be better and you wanted to be the best version of yourself. Just keep thinking back to that mindset and actually remember why you started when going to the gym starts to kind of feel like it's a bit of a chore. So the next point which really helps me is to just make a timetable. This is quite simple to do, it's just on Google Calendar. And not only is this going to help you go into the gym, it's also going to help you with all other areas of your life. And the reason why this is so helpful is because you can literally just put in the exact time slot which you need to go to the gym each day. So if you have this, and generally if you don't have a timetable slot for the gym, you're just kind of going around, you're just maybe going if you have time at the end of the day, or just you're just working it in, trying to fit it in to some time in your day. And a lot of times this is what leads to going to the gym just getting pushed back. It's being deprioritized and other things just kind of take priority. And then by the time you've pushed it back enough, you're too tired, or it just gets to the end of the day and you've got something else to do that's popped up and you end up skipping the gym. Now the analogy I want to give you is think back to when you were in school, or if you are still at school. You would have each subject with an allotted time slot within the day. So you knew exactly what you were doing, exactly where you should be, and exactly what subject you should be looking at for each hour of the day that you were at school. Now, the reason why this was so effective was because if you knew exactly where you needed to be, then you knew exactly where your focus should have been at that point in time, and you wouldn't miss anything, because if you just didn't have that timetable, you wouldn't know what to study, and you would just be doing some subjects here like maths, and you'd just be doing English at random times and whatnot, and it would just kind of get muddled up. And if you didn't have that military style routine, you would just be significantly less effective. You'd start having days when you would miss studying certain subjects and whatnot. You'd maybe study too much for some certain subjects, and then you'd fall behind in others, and it would just kind of turn into a little bit of a mess. So I want you to think the same thing with going to the gym. If you actually have a set time each day, and maybe it changes each day, but as long as you have a set time in the day where you've entered in the gym into your calendar, and you know exactly at this time I should be in the gym for this long, and you have that set up in your calendar, then you're just going to be able to go to the gym a lot easier. It's going to become a lot more easy for you to just get consistent and to just keep going. One of the other points that I want to make is just having a habit tracker and just having something which can keep you accountable. So for me personally, what I do is I draw out on a piece of paper and I just write the dates on one side, on one column, and then I'll have gym on the other column, and then if I actually went to the gym that day or I exercised, then I would just tick the box each day. So this is something which I have as a habit tracker, which I just hang up on my wall. It's just a piece of paper where I've just got each day of the month set down. And if I go to the gym that day, I tick it, and then if I don't, I put an X there. And the reason why I found this is helpful is because it's just a way of keeping yourself accountable. So that if you don't go to the gym, I know that I have to tick that X there on the box, which is probably going to annoy me because I knew that I could have done better for the day and I did skip out on something which is important to me. So it's just having that accountability that at the end of the day you do have to go back and put a cross in that box if you didn't go to the gym for the day, as opposed to the kind of positive reinforcement feeling that you'll get if you do tick the box in the gym, which is also going to help benefit you mentally and just make sure that you keep going to the gym. So this is something which I've found which has really helped me. If you don't want to do this, you can also just grab a friend and you can maybe text them if you miss the gym just to kind of keep you accountable, because you'll get that negative feeling when you miss the gym, and just having an accountability buddy like this can just kind of reinforce that. Kind of makes you feel guilty if you slacked on the day and you didn't go to the gym. So this is another thing which I found really helped me. If you want to check out my paid program, I've linked it down in the description. It's $49 now on pre-sale. In this program, I go over a lot of things like building muscle, some secrets I have. It's also got my workout routine, my personalized routine in there for you as well as a PDF, which you can go over. And I just go over some tricks and kind of essentials that I have in there, which I can't go over on YouTube. And I've also put in a bonus course on testosterone maxing as well. So if you want to check that out for $49, it's just linked in the description. One of the other points which I want to talk about, which is also really important, is the reason why you're not being so consistent in the gym is partially it might be because you're just taking the fun out of the gym. So, for example, when I was least consistent and I just felt like going to the gym was more of a chore, I just felt like I was just doing the same workout each time, the same amount of reps, same amount of sets, and the same weights with the same exercises. So I found that when I was doing this, going to the gym just kind of got a little bit more boring, and it just wasn't that exciting to go to the gym as I was when I was first starting off in the gym, for example, and everything was kind of new to me and I was hitting PRs every time I went. And so I just found like just going there like it's a chore and not actually making it fun and exciting is really a huge part as to why you might be slacking on the consistency in the gym. So some of the ways you can fix this are, number one, if you have a workout buddy, this is really going to help you. So if you can have a friend and you text them and you can organize a time to go at the same time, this is really going to help you be consistent in the gym, because it's also, you're not just working out, but it also makes it more social and it makes it more fun and more of an enjoyable experience when you're there, when you're talking to your friend the whole time. It just makes going to the gym, it just makes it so much more fun and exciting when you have friends there with you who are there to, they're there to help you as well. They can push you and they can make you get new PRs and whatnot. They can spot you. But in addition to that, it's just the idea of just making it a lot more fun and a lot more exciting and something you can really look forward to, as opposed to it just being something which is more of a chore. Another way you can do this is also just set new challenges in the gym. You can maybe set a new PR which you want to go to this time. And if you just set a goal and a challenge, it's going to make it a lot more exciting for you to show up to the gym each time, because you have a purpose and you have something to work towards. If you have this goal and you've got something which you're aiming for, it just automatically makes things so much more fun, so much more exciting for you. And you're going to be more consistent and you're going to be dedicated towards going to the gym, because you don't want to miss these goals that you've set for yourself. So for example, this could be the end of the month, you want to increase your bench press by 2.5 kg, or it could just be that you've set a challenge for today that you're going to hit a new PR on the squat rack or whatnot. And I think just doing things like this really just kind of creates another level of excitement and will help you to stay consistent on your gym journey. So one of the final things which you can do is just change it up in the gym. So this is a mistake which I see a lot of people doing, where they just kind of do the same gym workout over and over. They're not actually changing up the exercises, and more importantly, they're just keeping the rep range and the sets for each exercise the exact same. So I found that one of the ways you can actually make going to the gym more enjoyable and just change it up quite a lot is by just changing the rep range that you're doing for each set. So for example, if you're doing 3 sets of squats of 10 to 12 reps each time and you just keep going back and doing the same thing over and over, it's probably going to get too competitive and you're not really changing it up a little bit, making it more exciting for yourself. So one way you can combat this is instead of just doing 10 to 12 reps each time, have a few days where you're going to peel this back to 4 to 6 reps and you're going to go a little bit heavier. Now what this is going to do is it's going to shock your muscles a little bit, and it's also going to lead to you improving your strength. It's going to force that growth hormone, it's going to force that testosterone release in your muscles. However, I just also found that psychologically it just makes it a little bit more exciting and just makes it a little bit more entertaining for you to go to the gym if you're changing up these rep ranges, and occasionally you're going from the standard 10 to 12 rep range, which is good for muscle building, but you can also build a ton of muscle on lower rep ranges with higher weights as well. So if you think back to going to the sports field when you were a kid and you were playing a lot of sport, imagine if every single time you went to the sports field you were just doing the exact same drills and you were just in the exact same position in the drill, you just had the exact same job, and it was just for the exact same amount of time each time. And it didn't really change it up, there was no real strategy, and it just felt like you were just doing drills just for the sake of it. If you did this, you would notice that obviously you're going to find training less important, you're going to find it less essential, less interesting, and you're probably just going to start slacking and just going to training less often, even if it was a sport you really cared about at the time. This is the same thing in the gym. If you just keep the exercises the same and you're not switching it up every now and then, doing something new, changing the rep range or whatnot, it's just going to get too repetitive, and it's just going to still kind of just feel like you're there just because you have to be, not because you want to be.